Well, let's get started. Got a lot to talk about today. On the well.
Welcome to The Well. On this morning, I got Brother Brian, Sister Danetta, Elder Charles on his first time on The Well, and Sister Trinity. How you feeling on the day? All right, on today, I want to talk about why do people feel the need to keep up with others, even if it means putting them in the debt or others. Elder Charles, have you ever dealt with or done it yourself or seen someone go out of their means?
Well, there was a time when some of my friends went to a restaurant. And when we walked in, we were in high school, we were on a field trip, and I'm like, whoa, man, this looks kind of expensive. One of my guys nudged me. He was like, man, never say it's too expensive. Just act like you can pay. I'm like, but we can't. You know what I mean? He's like, nah, man, just, you don't show it. Come on, we just say we'll move on and we'll go somewhere else,
Gotcha.
But there have been times when I wanted to put on a good impression, to a young lady and knew that I didn't have the money, or I felt better when I was driving mom's car, because I knew it was a nicer car. And it's easy to impress, so I have felt the burn.
Gotcha. Danetta, have you ever felt the need or the pressure to keep up with others?
Sometimes. I remember when all my friends were graduating like 2 years ago from college, and I was still in junior college. I did feel like, wow, I'm really, really far behind. I got to catch up. I need to hurry up and get my BA so I can finally, keep up with my friends and be amongst the college graduates. So I have.
And in our church, the Black church, it's even a different kind of a thing. You notice that we like to dress up a little bit more. And we can go deeper into the history of it, or why did we felt the need to do that. And some of our other brother churches of other ethnicities seem to be more relaxed, at church, but that's a whole different subject. When we come here now, we like to give off the impression that we already have it all together. It's like walking into a hospital, acting like everything is all right with you, but you're at the hospital.
I think sometimes it's something we've been dealing with since we were young. A lot of times I think it's like a competition. It's a lot of times if you're playing basketball, you're like, oh, I can shoot better than you. And
I can.
Or you have some shoes on and they're like, oh man, I got the new pair of Jordans, or I got the new this. And so I think it's just something that we carry. And as we get older, we're still kind of acting the same way. It's almost kind of childish in a sense.
You said something very interesting, that sense of competition. And that you sent up a balloon there. We could spend a whole nother 2 hours talking on, where that came from. But I think even outside, generally in our culture, our church exists within our culture. So our culture, we have a weird way of defining happiness or the pursuit of happiness. We even ask each other, how much is he worth? How much is she worth? Like we're bringing everybody down to a financial means of this is how much you're worth, when true happiness can't do that. You see, the man can buy the blinged out Rolex, platinum Rolex, but he can't buy time. He can buy the $50 million house, but he can't buy a home full of love and happiness. He can drive that $2 million car, but to nowhere. It can't buy happiness, but our culture buys into it. And we out there, as soon as I have this iPad right here, it's going to be obsolete within 2.5 years. I'm going to have to buy another one. They keep us buying it. They keep us moving. So we have to figure out what true happiness is. Where does that truly come from?
Yeah, and I think people get caught up in, when it comes to social media, they get caught up in just seeing a picture. Yeah. Like I can easily put like all my makeup together and be like, bam, look what I got. But people don't know, like I could have spent my last $10, trying to buy some makeup. Like, so when people see people on yachts or, with their Jordans and stuff, they don't know that person could be having rats and roaches. Yeah. Crawling. They just get caught up in the picture.
It's interesting, Danetta, that you brought it up about social medias and images, because like this whole Bow Wow challenge right now, that's the whole thing right now with everybody's doing this challenge, and how people tend to portray their life on social media, but it's like behind closed doors, we really know who you are. I call them showcasers.
What would be a showcaser to you? Like a person or something that you've seen that was like a showcase?
Okay, for example, it's a girl that I went to high school with. Like, she's always putting stuff on social media. But it's like outside of that, she wants to make, on social media, she wants to make it look like this is her lifestyle that she's living. But behind that, her mother and her father is providing all this luxury lifestyle for her. But she want to make it seem like I'm self-made, I'm a boss, I'm doing this and that. But it's just a show that she's putting on for social media.
Gotcha. So me growing up in the church, one thing that I've seen many of my friends and people deal with, we start to idolize people, preachers and singers, and they may have the suits and the cars, and we start to idolize them for the things that they have, and we forget that in church you're supposed to, I don't mind idolizing people for their spiritual gifts, but we idolize them for the things that they have, their homes, what they drive, where they live, the type of families they have. Have you guys seen that, experienced that?
As humans, we always want more. It talks about in the word that a lot of times these different people who were at different statuses wanted more wives, more money, more things. So I think a lot of times if that is what you're listening to, if that's what you're feeding yourself, like even with rappers, they talk about the cars, they talk about the women. They talk about the women. So if I'm hearing that enough, why do you think these young teenagers are going out trying to get Jordans, trying to get ladies, trying to get this, trying to get that? It's because it's what they're feeding themselves. If you get that enough, if you feed yourself, let's say, for instance, gangster music, if you feed yourself that enough, you're going to more than likely start getting into some activity. Because if they're saying you can sell this, get a pound of this, and this is how much money, now we know we're grown. So we know good and well most of these rappers or different people are just faking it.
Because we can't blame specifically the music industry, even though it illustrates it, it expresses it perfectly. It's art imitates life, imitates art, and the artist, before he even does that, is imitating kind of what's out there. Even people who never listen to rap music like to promote like that they have it. I was taught that truly wealthy people don't feel the need to showcase it. They don't feel the need to lay it out there. They're happy being wealthy all by themselves. No, I want to hear what you have.
No, because there's a good example. There was a picture of Jay-Z back when he was working with Jazzy, and he had like the little high top fade, and he had a bunch of gold chains. He was like mid-20s, early 20s, and then there was a picture to now Jay-Z. He's about 48, and when he goes places, he doesn't wear anything. He wears a simple button-up, and he's almost, worth $1 billion. So
stealth wealth.
Right. Like, when he was younger, he was like, I got to walk around with all this gold. I got to floss. I got to do this. And he probably didn't have much.
Because he probably didn't know better back then. It's like when you know better, you do better.
Right. And then it's also, like he said, like when you really do have it, you don't have to show it. You don't have to have layers of gold chains.
But I always feel like people who never really had anything, like that's how they tend to showcase a lot. Because I was like the way I was brought up, like I don't have to boost and brag on what I have. Like it'll just show for itself. So I feel like people who do that, they never really had much in the beginning. So it's like they want to show it. Like look what I have now.
It's all we see on each other. We look at the outward. They look on the inward. It's in the air, especially in a culture that says more is never enough. Too much more is never enough. Chase what matters. You can't get what really matters with a credit card. I mean, come on,
Right.
So it comes from the culture, us.
It's more to just what you have. Like what's up here is what's really important that people miss out on a lot of times.
Well, I mean, you're saying that now, but what would you do if a guy in just a regular, Kia approached you and was like, hey, and you can tell that he didn't have much. His shirt was maybe a little wrinkled, or it wasn't the newest shirt. Let's put it like that. It's creased, but it's not the newest shirt. And he tries to approach you, right? How are you going to react? He's a handsome guy, but then the next following week, you get the guy who has the BMW. He smells a little bit better. He has the Tom Ford on.
Keep adding on.
Then,
But I'm not even impressed by all of that. Like, but I got you. I got to come back for what you're asking me. Now, when I was in my early 20s, my boyfriend at the time, I met him. He was just coming from the plant because I'm from Detroit. He was coming from the plant. So he was like, in his worker's clothes. And he had back when cornrow braids were in.
Okay.
His braids wasn't the best. But our conversation, we got to talking. But then when we went out and then we went out again, his wardrobe and everything was completely different.
Okay.
So I could have judged him then, but I didn't. I was open to his conversation.
But let's be honest. Some ladies and some even young men, they will judge by the appearance. So
they will.
You're saying it's all about what's up here in your heart. But sometimes when people stunt on people, you like the way they stunt. You like, dang, you really look good right now. And they could not even have all that.
She said something very important, though. She
Thank
said,
you.
The conversation.
Exactly,
You know,
it was the conversation.
Even though he might have been dressed from the plant and the
he
was cool, you know, and he might have smelled like he came from the plant. Something in his smile, the way that he approached her, the way that he asked her who she was, got the conversation.
And not to mention the brother smile, he had braces at the time, so I was really like, you know, like.
When you saw that.
So I'll ask this: conversation is good, clothes are good, but they don't have salvation. Is that an issue for you?
Here we go. Let's see.
Yeah, because I feel like I gotta know that Jesus is in your life. Like, seriously, like, I have to know that. Like, I can't be trying to build and grow with you and you don't have that in you. That's my take on it.
So you would say that's more important than what he has on and what he drives.
Absolutely.
And what he has.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Danetta, is that the same for you?
I agree. And if you do have salvation, I'm going to see like how your actions are, because you can have salvation and still be trash. So if you do have salvation, I'm going to hold you to an even higher standard. Because I'm going to be like, well, how are you with your salvation?
I think we can do what's in Romans, where, you know, not conforming to the world's patterns. If the world is doing things a certain way, if they're looking at you, if they're judging you, if they're saying, oh, okay, well, he has a BMW, he has a lot of money, we have to renew our mind on a daily. And the only way that we could do that and have a changed mind is by reading the word, by going to church, by, you know, praying and fasting and, you know, trying to do something along the lines of what Christ did here on earth.
Well, this has been a great subject on the day. Thank you for joining us on The Well. Catch us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and we'll see you next time. Looking for more West State TV original content? Like and subscribe to make sure you never miss a video.